second.
So we had a chance to see this, and it was the only show?
It's been on like a sort of road show tour. It started off when it was released only in certain, I think it was Picture House chain of cinemas, and then it's kind of gone on a bit of a
We
tour.
don't have any of them in the north, do we?
No, we don't. And it's the film's been sort of touring around with director Joe Stephenson, who was unfortunately unable to attend our screening of it. But you know, he gave us a nice bit of paper with loads of notes and stuff, which was cool. But yeah, the film.
Yeah. So we had a chance to see it. The director sadly didn't show up, but we obviously I don't know what reason that was for, but fair enough.
Yeah.
But so we got to see it, and there's actors in it too. There was the breakthrough actor is Scott Chambers.
Yes.
It's his first role, and I also got a reply from him on Twitter and a favourite.
Was it a reply or a retweet?
It was both actually. I'll show you right now.
Oh, go on then.
But yeah. So yeah, there is chickens in this. There's one chicken.
There is one chicken
in this.
Yep.
So just to bring that up.
So we're gonna wait while Ryan gets his
So
Twitter.
I tweeted it, and then
such a beg.
Scott Chambers says, "Really glad you liked it." In reply.
Wow, it's like your best friends.
Yeah, he is. And the man who played Polly also retweeted it.
Cool.
And then I said, I hope it gets support because it deserves it.
I tweeted from the Spark Film Show account because I'm not a massive sellout. I don't crave the attention that you do.
Well, yeah, but they got it to contact. So thank you lads, because you've done a good job here. Basically, it's about Richard, who's 15. He's got learning disabilities. He's played by Scott Chambers, and basically his family's very, it's not exactly what you would want a family system to be. Basically, he lives under the careship of his brother, his restless and destructive brother, Polly, played by Morgan Watkins, and basically they have to keep moving about. They're sort of nomadic because of the situation and the job that he's get pulled about. He can't really get a job that he sticks with, and he's very damaged, Polly, so obviously he has to keep moving him about, and Richard being with these mental disabilities, he has to be looked after with a great care, and he puts a great deal of stress on Polly, but Polly obviously can't really keep down a job, so it's a two-way system. And basically the land they live on is bought by a new landowner, and the electricity supply of their caravan is cut, so the living situation gets even worse. And while Polly is off hunting for a job, Richard runs into this girl who's just wandering about, and that is Yasmin Paige's character, who has been in, it was quite a shock when I saw her the first time, because I saw her for the first time when she was in Sarah Jane Adventures back in 2007. That was quite a while ago.
And I said, I go back even further than that, to a show called The Misty Show.
Yeah, there you go. Was that 2002, you said?
2004.
Yeah.
On this, I was like Saturday morning CBBC channel thing.
Yeah, quite a while ago. But yeah, they bond instantly, and this is all while Polly's off getting jobs, and it eventually takes a darker turn, which we will get to. But we won't get to. We won't spoil there. But it's just a really heartfelt, touching story. That really, it's because it's a difficult situation that you have to sort of understand, and it's a difficult film to watch at times because of certain scenes that happen. There are some brutal scenes in there. But I think the aspect of it, the most of it, is how it's just sort of like an urban fairy tale, like the countryside fairy tale of that aspect. I really like to see that whole play out, and I think the friendship between Richard and Yasmin Paige's character is just terrific to watch. And I think Morgan Watkins plays Polly with a great deal of sympathy, but also with a great deal of of anguish and anger, that you want to hate him for how bad he is and some of the things he is doing, but at the same time you can totally get from his perspective why, because it's a difficult situation.
I appreciate that, but sometimes it comes across that he is just too nasty.
Yeah, I don't know.
Too nasty to reprieve, especially the new information that you learn doesn't make it any easier. I don't know. I didn't find him particularly sympathetic.
It's a horribly complex situation. I feel like they're both morally great characters, and I feel like it is complex to watch, because then you're not really rooting against anybody. You want them just to have the best lives they can. Because obviously it is tricky what's happened to their family, though it's all been spread apart and everything. But you just get to watch it, because it's a three-hander essentially between those two dynamic leads and Yasmin Paige's character as she gets to know Richard and becomes one of his best friends. It's just great to watch Scott Chambers sort of just little innocences, just the things the wonders he takes when they go on an initial walk through the forest. He's just wandering through, and he thinks there's tigers in the forest and that, and just taken a wash in the stream, which is both sad and heartwarming at the same time. But that's what the film's great strength is. It's that central relationship between Yasmin Paige's character and Scott Chambers' character, and the relationship between Scott and Morgan Watkins' character. They have great central relationships.
Joe Stephenson, the director, has done a very fine job, I will say much, for his feature film debut. It's based on a play,
Is it?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
And it's supposedly very faithful to it. He didn't attend the Q&A, but in his notes he sort of said that he gave sort of the questions that people might have asked with an answer underneath, which was really good, really helpful. And he said that the actor Scott Chambers isn't himself mentally disabled, but they obviously budgetary reasons mean that they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He was the first person that they thought of because he was a friend of the production, and he does a very fine job. He's very sympathetic and very, very a nice character to be with, and you totally believe in it and get behind him. Especially, I got behind him a lot more because I didn't find Polly particularly sympathetic. I know you do, but I didn't.
All right, but I didn't find him like overwhelmingly sympathetic. I just could sort of see because like
I didn't see much at all.
Because obviously, like I couldn't relate to ever being in a situation like that, and I wouldn't want to be. But it's like, it's tricky. I mean, they've got nothing. They've literally got nothing. I mean, when Scott, I'm one of the scenes when Richard is preparing breakfast for Polly. It's literally just a croissant. Yeah, isn't it? With some fresh tomatoes that he's stolen from an orchard.
And they got the sort of Marmite drink.
Yeah, like
the hot Marmite water.
It's a horrible situation. These are people like on the very lowest scale of sort of finance with the amount of stuff they have. They have no personal belongings, but it's strange. They're literally living out a caravan. You've got to have some sympathy in that aspect. I feel like I really enjoyed. I mean, I really enjoyed the cinematography. Yeah. As well, I feel like it brought across, like I know what Kermode was saying about the widescreen cinematography bringing across the sort of loneliness and the harshness, but also having that sort of warmth to it. And I feel like that's definitely because it amplified the fairy tale aspects of the story. Because the relationship that Richard and Yasmin Paige's character have it is sort of a fairy tale in itself, because he is so innocent and sort of uncorruptible for a lot of the film. And you really get, and I feel like it wraps itself up so beautifully by the end that it does. So it did strike a bit of a chord. Yeah, I've got to say, I would recommend it. I mean, if it is a limited run,
well, it's now on Mubi,
which is
a website with streaming service. Joe.
Yeah, chicken. I think it's interesting in the case of it's a very low budget film. Yeah. It's picked the kind of perfect story for it, because like you say, the kind of low end finance and stuff like that, and being in the countryside, obviously you can tell. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say a tell, but you can kind of it's kind of not a big film, but they uses that kind of story arc well, in the sense that obviously they won't have a lot of stuff to like props, actors, and all sorts of other things for the story, which is kind of good. But funny thing with chicken, I mean, I liked all the film all the way through. I mean, some of the acting does get really intense near the end. I would say a bit too. I won't say overacting, but it goes. I won't say it goes on for too long either. It just kind of goes like up and down constantly, just in the emotion wise, and some of the dialogue in those scenes kind of doesn't work. I don't think if it worked for the play, I don't think it works for the film. But overall, I mean, it's a memorable little film for what it is. I'm glad a lot of people liked it, but yeah.
It is doing really well. It's getting seen, and that's what the filmmakers wanted, and it's getting talked about on shows like this, which is with such a high listenership.
Yeah, of course.
It was great.
Spreading the word.
It will go further and further. It will be in the multiplexes by 10 o'clock tomorrow night.